Yay, we made it. We're alive. Look at that. Hi, Viv.
Hello, Suzy. Hello, everybody out there and Talk to the Animals land now and in the future.
They up.
Oh, did you hear the
Oh,
birdies?
I know. They're like, yay.
Chip, 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 chip. We're going to contribute too. We don't need to go to the vets, the wild birds say.
Exactly.
I
So,
wonder what
yes, today.
animals. You
Mm.
go.
No, you go. You wonder what animals what?
No, I was just thinking about, when a bird gets sick, they don't go and pick up the phone or knock on the vet's doors. It's like they don't have to deal with all of that. So luckily, our domestic animals have the choice in some respects.
Exactly. Well, and that's actually, thank you for saying that and starting out with that. Because to me, that's often the part that we don't seem to give to them, And I know for myself and also with other people, we freak out so quickly when something is wrong with our animals. We go on hyper, well, I don't even know, cray cray, I would say, when our animals are, suffering or something is up with them. And we always, our first thing is always like, we have to go to the vet, and usually there isn't really a question in that. It's just this knee jerk reaction. My animal is suffering. I have to go to the vet. I mean, not everybody is like that, but I know a lot of people that are like
Mhm.
that. And, and with that, sometimes the animals really maybe don't require it, number one. Number two, we don't really also give them the information. And now, so we are really nervous. We are freaking out. We're packing our animals into a car. If it's a cat, it may not go in the car other than going to the vet. So we're stuffing it into a box. We're bringing them to the car. We're driving. And then we're going to this place that must smell like I'm not sure what for the animals. And now they're being prodded and looked at and all this kind of stuff. So, in a lot of ways, it's very strange what we're putting them through, of course, with the best of intentions. And yet, if we were to actually ask them ahead of time and also inform them, it might be really different.
Mm.
So, and how do you do that? So how could this be really created in a different way that would create more relaxation for the animal?
And for you, and something that you touched on, that very poignantly, animals obviously they function from energy. Well, that might not be obvious to everybody, but they function from energy. Energy is their language, and so they're sensing everything around them. They don't separate or disconnect from energy. So two things I want to say about that is obviously they're very aware of the energy we're being in regards to, okay, my animal's injured, I've got to go to the vet. So the first thing to do is look at, well, what's my point of view about the vet? What's my point of view about taking my animal there? Like you say, is it straight round to the red line and panic and anxiety in the worst case scenario and the money and, what it's going to mean? Or can you get to a space where you can ask the animal a question? Okay, do you or your body require to go to the vet? Do you need veterinary attention? Do you need medical attention? And like you say, Suzy, putting that into terminology that they grasp, that they can understand. And then the other part of that is, as you said, those buildings, veterinary surgeries, they carry a certain energy. And obviously, animals are highly sensitive to the energy of a veterinary surgery. I know for my dog, Bella, she'll trot along quite happily. And the moment we turn towards the ramp that goes up in there, she'll go up the ramp. And as soon as she gets to the top of the ramp, 3 feet away from the front door, on go the brakes. On go the brakes. She's never even been into this building before. This is the first time I took her. So please don't underestimate the energy and the information that your animals are receiving from that. If you're trying to walk a dog into a veterinary surgery, what can you be for that animal that will, help dissipate whatever that energy is that they're aware of. So this is where I love the tools of Talk to the Animals, because you've got the ability straight away to change whatever that point of view is for you about going to the vets, taking your animal to the vets, your animal being injured or, you know, sick, and also about the entire journey from, like you say, Suzy, if they need to get in a car or a trailer, just being able to process them if required, to make the whole journey and the whole interaction very different.
Yeah. And you know, one of the things too, and we've talked about this actually with your dog Bella, you know, is so yeah, ask the question, does your body require veterinary care? And if it's a yes, don't assume it's your regular vet. I remember you telling me too that when something was going on with Bella, you looked at all the vets that were available in your area and you really looked at, for this particular issue with your dog right now, what is actually the vet that would be the most contribution. Because as with anything, there is no one person that knows everything the best, and there's always people that have a certain affinity to certain things, or you know, they might have a solution available that another person does not. And so to even be willing to say, you know what, I am actually willing to go to this other vet. I've never been there, but this is the one that is sort of peaking
Mm.
out at this moment. Like, this is the one. Okay, cool, let's go there. And then trust that. And it's not about logic. It's not about research. It's more really letting your finger wander down the list of all the vets and seeing where it sticks, you know, or you're looking at the list and one pings you or jumps at you. You know, and if you're willing to really be with that energy too, you might recognize later, oh wow, this was actually the perfect person to go to for this particular issue. And then really letting your animal know, hey, we're going to see this person who's going to contribute to your body. And, you know, for that, we're going to get in the car, we're going to drive there, and then we're going to go into this building, and they're going to look at you, and they're going to stick a thermometer in your butt, and they're going to open your mouth, and they're going to like do all kinds of things. And just to give them also that awareness before you go. And does that mean they're not going to stop at the ramp? Probably not. They will still stop at the ramp. But what did you do with when your dog stopped at the ramp? What did you actually do in that moment?
Yeah, so I just crouched down to her, and in my head, because you know you don't have to say this stuff out loud, I basically use the access tools to clear her of anything that she was aware of that wasn't hers. So, you know, all the, whatever that energy is, we would label it as fear. You know, what that reaction is in the animal kingdom is not what we describe as fear. Yes, it's an instinct for them that alerts them to something. It makes them more vigilant in some respects. So I just helped clear all of the energy that she was aware of that wasn't hers. And I just showed her exactly what you just described, how we were going to walk into this room, because she's a rescue dog, I'd say she's had a lot of trauma with being locked in small spaces and having things done to her. So to get her into the first waiting room was one journey. Eventually, I mean, within a minute, literally within a minute, she went, oh, okay, I'll walk through the door. And then as soon as she got into the reception area, a whole other level of awareness and energies came up for her. There were other animals, people buzzing around, smells. So again, in my head, I just chatted with her and cleared some stuff. And then I said, we're going to walk into that room over there that's smaller, and a man's going to be in there. And I was just, because I know lifting her up onto the table just completely sends her into a beyond. So I was asking, what would it take for him to be willing to treat her on the ground? What would it take for him to be willing? And guess what? He just crouched down. He was an older gentleman, and he crouched down and he just dealt with her on the ground. I didn't even have to say anything, you know. So it's like you start to play with different possibilities rather than just going straight into the conclusion where we get so blinkered and can only see one way forward. And a lot of the times when we're that blinkered, we don't ask for other contribution. We don't create the space for other possibilities to show up, which would be a lot more, you're co-creating that journey with your animal. I have a really cool story that I just want to add to this as well. So Suzy, I spoke to you a while ago about Bella's teeth. She's 11, and she's getting to the age where this particular type of dog can be very, it's very touch and go, giving them anesthetics. So I asked her body, would you cope with going to the vet and having anesthetic to put you to sleep for them to do your teeth? And she said, no, my body wouldn't cope. And I'm like, okay, what else is possible? Can you bring me whoever it is, whatever the information is it a product? Is it a person? Is it something else that I'm not aware of? And there was a gap. It was like, I now know that when I ask a question and I don't get anything per se, it's like it's out there in the cosmos, and the universe is now moving the molecules around for that information to find me. So I don't immediately go, I've got to have an answer. I've got to find the solution. She was struggling with her teeth. Her breath was really smelly. Her gums were inflamed. I'm like, okay, what can I do in the meantime? And so, we talked about colloidal silver and some natural antibiotics, which was what I was doing. Anyway, a month later, I flew to Sydney, spent some time with this lady who has 4 dogs. And she went, oh my God, Viv, just guess what? I've had this gentleman who's a vet come to the house, and he did all 4 of my dog's teeth without anesthetic. And I'm like, what? She said, yeah, he travels around Australia and he brings this big mattress. And what he does is he sits with the dogs and wait until they're calm. She said, he flips them on their back. The dogs lie between his legs. They rest their head on his lap and he does their teeth. No anesthetic. So I went, wow, okay. And this really lit my world up. And so I connected with Bella and said, is this what you're looking for? And she said, yes, this. I went, okay, I live 3 hours drive from anywhere. Anyway, turned out he was coming to the closest town to me literally within a month. So I booked her in. She's just been and had her teeth done. She is a brand new dog and she's happy as Larry. It took half an hour, no stress. She came out going, licking her teeth, all smiley and wagging her tail. And I went, she was so happy. She was so happy. And she literally, you could feel her like checking her teeth all the time. So if you ask a question about something that's going on with your dog and you don't get the immediate information, just wait, ping the universe again, not constantly. You don't need to nag the universe. It's heard you. But just, if there is that gap, if there is that, because I was feeling, am I procrastinating? Am I putting this off? Am I avoiding it? No, I knew the information was coming. Patience.
Yes. How cool is that? Yeah.
So there are some amazing people out there that have ways of dealing with animals that we don't know about. You go back, like we just did an interview with Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness and Talk to the Animals, an hour or so ago, and he was talking about how his grandfather was with the horses. So go back, 50, 80 years or longer than that. People had a very pragmatic way of dealing with their animals. Veterinary surgery was not like it is today. There wasn't this immediate panic of, oh my God, Fluffy's got a sneeze, I better rush him to the vet. There was a much more practical, pragmatic way of dealing with the animal kingdom. So do you want to talk about that a bit, Suzy?
Well, one thing actually that I didn't get to speak about during that interview, but that came up for me was, I used to be a dog walker and I had this client who said that, if there was ever anything going on with his dog and I needed to bring him to the vet without him being there or without reaching him, he would never spend more than $300 on the dog at the vet. So if it would cost more than $300, he would put the dog to sleep.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I was shocked, at the time. How could you do this? How could you even have this amount of money on an animal that you love? And all this kind of stuff came up for me. But the funny thing was that dog never needed to go to the vet. It was as if the dog was aware of that and was basically like, well, unless I cost less than $300, I'm going to die. So, I'm going to keep my body healthy. And I know this sounds like it's stupid, but honestly, I believe that dog knew that if it was going to go to the vet and it would cost more than that amount, that meant the end of its life. So, the animals are not, it's not that they speak English and they have a logic about money or any of these things, but they get the energy of something like that. And that's very important. And I think Viv, you started this whole conversation with, what is our point of view about the vet? What is our point of view about
Mhm.
what will happen with our animal when we take them to the vet? And basically, if you are stuck in something, anything there,
Mm.
your animal is not going to have ease either. And you have to be willing to be aware of that. So it's really important that you also have a look at what is your point of view here. Do you have a point of view? What is your point of view? How strong is your point of view? Which direction does it go in? And maybe see if you can work on
Mm.
that as well and just let go of it. And
Mm.
vets are fantastic, and they can also do damage, just like with anything. And you want to be aware of that.
Mm.
And the vet is not the solution always, and neither is not the vet the solution always. The more that you can be in the question with what is required, the better. If you come to
Mm.
any conclusion, then that usually doesn't work out so well in the end.
Mm. Yeah, and a really simple tool with that is, okay, all my points of view, all my reference points of view I have about vets, past, present, and future, I destroy and uncreate them all. And then you can use the clearance statement from Access Consciousness.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, pool rats, and beyond.
Because changing your point of view, so you destroy and uncreate whatever your point of view was, because without changing that, it will keep flowing into the future. Whereas when you recognize, oh yeah, I do have a lot of energy attached to this, I do have a point of view, I'm going to work on myself first so I can be more of an energy, a contributory energy to my animal as they go to the vets or anywhere they get their nails clipped or whatever it is. And then it's also, okay, what would it take for this to be totally ease filled? So you're actually now creating a different energetic possibility for the future for you and the animal. And it can be as simple as that. Destroy and uncreate the past reference points and your stories, whatever it is, points of view, and what will it take for this to be ease filled for me and for the animal? And just with those two simple tools, you're completely opening up the possibility for a whole new reality with you and animals and the journey with the veterinary world as well, or any world. It could be the chiropractor, it could be, the dentist, it could be anything that your animal is involved in.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. Cool. And Bridget said she wants to have the contact, please, Viv, of this
I
particular
shall
person.
send that to you, Bridget. So yeah, if anybody's watching this from Australia, this gentleman travels. So he goes to different parts. He goes to all the major cities. He's based in Melbourne, so that'll be good for you, Bridget. And if I will send you the details. And if anybody else would like those details within Australia, you can find me on Facebook or you can contact me through vivadcock.com.
There you go.
Fabulous, Suzy. Anything else you'd like to say, my friend?
Well, I don't think so. I think we said a lot, and hopefully it's been a contribution to, have a little bit more insight in how you can be calmer. Yeah, how do you get calmer? Maybe, Viv, what can we contribute for somebody who is freaking out with their animal? I honestly, for myself, I started asking this question when there is something going on with my animals' bodies. I always ask, is this an emergency? So this is my very first question. Is this an emergency? And I always ask the body. So I say, body, is this an emergency? Truth. And usually when you say that, you will get a yes or no. And please trust that, because that gives you at least a moment to take a breath, even if it's bleeding or painful or whatever it might be. If you get a no on the emergency part, at least you can take a breath and maybe sit down first and have a look at it. And if it's bleeding, hey, what can I do to stop the bleeding? If it's something else, if it's pain, can I put my hand somewhere to calm my animal down and see, like, what kind of pain is it? Is it a broken bone? Is it something that's pinched? Was it a bite? Like, what's going on here? And that gives you just a little bit more of that space to actually start asking some questions. Whereas when you're in a panic, it just, it never really works so well, you know. It just doesn't. And believe me, I've been there many times. So yes.
That darn worst case scenario.
Ah,
Pock and pod.
pork and pod, exactly. And so, but yeah, if you can give yourself that, just that moment of saying, is this an emergency? And if it's a yes, then okay, cool. Okay, so now what do I do with that too? Because it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to run to the vet right away either. It just means, okay, this is an emergency situation. It will require you to be basically responding to it quickly. And so you can ask a question. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean right now? What do I have to do to handle this situation? And really, if you can give yourself that space, things are going to get easier.
And a critical point you made there too, Suzy, is ask the body, not the being, you know, not yourself. Ask the body, because the body has an incredibly intelligent, brilliant wisdom when it comes to healing itself. You know, our bodies are always doing the best that they can to get to homeostasis, which is where everything is, all of the systems are working together in harmony. So it doesn't always look that way, I understand, you know, with broken bones and diseases and stuff, but the body is always, the innate intelligence of the body, especially with animals, is always looking to get back to that space of homeostasis, communion, oneness. So, and remember, they don't see disease or pain or problems the same way that we do. They don't even see it as a problem. Yeah. Thank you, Suzy.
Thank you, Viv. Another cool conversation. And so if you want to have more of those, please subscribe wherever you're looking right now. Just turn on notifications, subscribe. We will always come back to those places. And I'm not sure when our next one is, but soonish. So stay tuned.
Use your awareness.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and we will see you in the not too distant future. Thank you, my friend Suzy.
Thank you, Viv. Bye, everybody. Bye.